This is Katie from New Vision Counseling and Consulting, and today we have reached the 5th day to a drama-free Christmas. And so, just like the original version of this song goes, today is 5 golden boundaries. So not 5 golden rings, but boundaries really are kind of like a ring. So I think there's some similarities there. And so you've heard a lot about family and marriage and in-laws so far, but today we're going to talk about boundaries, which goes with all of those things. And so the 5 golden boundaries that I have for you today are: first, say no when yes means you won't have time alone with God that day. Ouch, isn't that hard during Christmas season? It's so easy to say, okay, well, I could run to the grocery store really quickly and get the last ingredients for my pie, or I could go into work just a little bit earlier so I can be home earlier to spend time with the kids, or make it to that Christmas party on time, or get that last task I have done a little bit faster. And I would just encourage you to always say no if your yes means that you won't have time alone with God that day. Your day is going to go so much better if you spend time with the Lord, and not because God promises us to be without suffering if we spend time with Him, but because we have to be so in communion with God that that's how we live out our lives, and that's how we walk in obedience, and that's how we walk in faith. And so when those hard things do come, when you get in a car accident, during the hustle and bustle, that you can thank God and that you can still be a witness to the person that hits you or that you hit, and that you can just respond graciously and lovingly in situations, to your kids, to your spouse, to your coworkers, to the cashiers. That's why saying no when yes means you want to have time alone that day is definitely a golden boundary this holiday season. The second one is to say no when your yes means putting another person or activity above your marriage. So marriage is really, really important to us at New Vision, and that's why that's important to us because we really believe that marriage is important to God. Marriage is a foundation of our society, and marriage is something that God uses as an illustration of Himself to us, the church. And so we really, really, really highly value marriage, and your marriage needs to be a priority even in the midst of the hustle and bustle. Don't wait till New Year's to try to be working on your marriage. Don't put that off. Don't let the things and the busyness come between you and your spouse. Take time to connect and spend time with your spouse every single day. The third golden boundary is to say no when your yes goes against the calling God put on your life. And so everybody's calling is different, and that's what makes God so cool, is that He is so creative and that He gives us each these unique passions and callings. And if God has specifically called you to something, then that means that your yes should not go against that calling in your life. So for me, I'm called to be a therapist. I'm called to work with people every day, and if I really wanted to go and just spend thousands of dollars at Christmas, then I would probably have to be in a different profession, and that would go against the calling that God placed in my life as a Christian counselor. If I was just going to blow a ton of money, that would not be consistent, and that would not be consistent with helping people. I'd probably try to take on too many clients, and I wouldn't be my best version of myself for them. And so that's something that God's called me to, and that's an example of how I can be used in that situation. The fourth golden boundary is to say no when yes means your children are being drawn closer to the Lord as a result. And so if something you're doing is either leading them in the wrong direction, or it's teaching them something that is not drawing them to the Lord, or maybe it's even letting them be in an activity that just means they're spread too thin and they can't spend time with God, then that is a time when you need to say no. The fifth and final golden boundary for today is to say no when your yes means you're receiving more glory than God. And that is really difficult for us every single day. But even at Christmas season, when the season's supposed to be all about God, it's really easy to make it about us, about our families, about our success, just about our personal endeavors instead of the Lord. And so I'd encourage you to really say no in those moments. So thank you so much for joining us today for 5 Golden Boundaries, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for our 6th day to a drama-free Christmas. Thanks and have a great day.